Hello, friends. Isabel here. Welcome or welcome back. Today, I wanted to share with you part of the challenge that I've been doing over on Instagram, which I think a couple other people have joined in. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm painting a hand in gouache every day for 30 days. So for me, this will end on March 2nd because I like good multiples of 10 and I didn't feel like doing 28. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Feel free to join me, start whenever you want. I've learned a lot from this. One of which is that it takes a lot longer than I thought to paint a hand every day. I don't know why I was expecting it to go faster, but I think with gouache, there's a lot more room for just picking at your mistakes. Whereas like with watercolor, there's a point where you kind of have to stop or else it's all just going to get super dark and you won't be able to distinguish any form or anything. So that's been something that I've tried to stop myself from doing, is spend too long on these. You might be wondering why I'm doing them in gouache and not watercolor, and the answer to that is that I want to learn how to use gouache, and I also feel like my skills in actually painting hands, painting skin really, are lacking, and I wanted to get better at capturing all the nuances in skin tones. So I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity. I also feel like I'm fairly decent at drawing hands, but I'm not very good, or I don't have a good grasp on how they shift, like on how the shadows work with the color. So I just felt like this was a good combination of those two things. And by the way, if you choose to do this challenge, which you probably won't, but if it interests you, tag me on Instagram. 30-day hand challenge, I think, is the hashtag that I'm using. And you don't have to do it in gouache. Do whatever you want. So this is just what worked for me. I guess I can talk about what I've found to be tricky with gouache. It's definitely been a learning curve to have to mix values as well as color. That might sound a little weird if you don't come from a watercolor background, but basically with watercolor, you mix the color, and then if you want it to be lighter, you just add water. And if you want it to be darker, you add less water and you layer, and you can't get lighter. It's been really strange painting with gouache and having to mix with white because it desaturates the colors or makes them more pastel, and you don't get those really vibrant but light colors that you can get with watercolor. So there have been a couple of times where I've added too much white and then tried to go back, and it just gets all muddy and disgusting and gross. So that's something I'm working on. I'm also trying to not just mix one big puddle of color, because that works for watercolor, but with gouache, I'm finding that it gets more desaturated than I would like it to, because I have more paint on the palette at a time. You can see that I haven't really cleaned off my palette in this challenge. I've cleaned it up a couple times, but I just don't like wasting paint. So that's why it's kind of a mess right now. I'm using the Himi gouache set. I think that's how you say it. I got it for Christmas. I'm going to do a review video on that, so if that's something you're interested in, stick around for that little plug for you to subscribe or whatever. I don't know. But I'll give you a quick little rundown. Basically, they're really stinky, and not that they don't work well. I haven't used much gouache, so I don't really know how they are in comparison with other gouache brands, but oh man, they stink. I was getting headaches for the first couple days with these. Couldn't paint for more than half an hour without having to, close the box, leave the room. I was painting with my scented candles going, but that wasn't really helping because it was just making it stuffier. So if you're really sensitive to smells, I would say don't get these ones. But other than that, they work pretty well. It's definitely been a learning curve to learn how to mix the right consistencies and layer because, like with watercolor, everything is the same consistency. Or if it is a slightly different consistency, it's not noticeable. But with gouache, it's either super runny or it's that nice like creamy texture or it's really gritty and hard to move around. So this entire video is just going to be me saying it's a learning curve. Overall, I have really enjoyed working with gouache and I'm excited to figure out how it works into my painting style because, this has been mostly just painting pretty realistic hands except for that one purple one that was not meant to be purple. But it kind of turned purple. So yeah, I don't know why I feel like my color theory knowledge has kind of gone out the window when I switched to gouache, and I feel like that happens every time I try a new medium is I just forget how colors work and how to draw, which kind of sucks because I'm already trying to learn a new medium. So, yeah, I don't know. I do like gouache though. I like how illustrative it is and I like how opaque it is. I kind of knew that I was going to like how opaque it is because I've noticed that when I paint with watercolor, I tend to gravitate towards more opaque colors. I just love laying down those big, flat chunks of color that just cover the page. So I think what I want to experiment with is mixing watercolor and gouache together, like painting a base of watercolor and then trying to put like gouache on top of it to make some parts more opaque and emphasized. Also, apologies about my camera autofocusing on my hand sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't do it, sometimes it does, and I'm filming on my phone, so I don't know how to fix that. Anyway, back to the painting. I wasn't sure how I felt about these hands at first. What I've been doing for most of these paintings is laying down just like a really flat wash of some color. I was doing like an orange for a while, then I moved to pink, and I think I want to try doing colors that aren't like the base tones that they'll peek through a little more. The green paper sort of does that, but maybe I'll try like a blue or something. So yeah, I wasn't really being patient enough with my color mixing and really, working to actually get the right colors. So in some parts I layered a little too much. And then I was like, why isn't this color right? It doesn't match anything. So I was struggling to balance, the more warm orange tones of what I was seeing in the palm on the one hand that has the palm facing up, and then the almost bluish purpley tones on the other hand, like on the back. And I was really struggling with the spots where those purpley tones met the orange tones because they were almost complementary colors. I think in the reference image, the purple was a little more of a red and less of a blue. So, like I said, I wasn't being patient enough, but I just kept playing with it, and then I got frustrated because it was too dark, and then I tried to add white to my colors, and then they got desaturated, and I wanted that vibrant color. So I was really frustrated with this painting for a while, and then I started just trying to just let go a little bit. I was like, okay, you're not going to like these. They don't have to be perfect, and of course there's that added pressure of, I'm filming it, so they need to be good. But I just tried to let go of that, and I tried to, like leave some brush strokes really solid and not blend a lot, because I have noticed that the things that I dislike most about a lot of these is when I blend everything out and then it just gets, I don't know, it feels like when you look at a digital painting that's just had like the airbrush all over it, and there's no like hard edges, and it's just, it feels fake. So I do think that this hand that's facing up, and then also the first hand that I did on this sheet of paper, so the one in the corner, which I don't believe you can see right now, but you will see it at the end, I think. If not, you might have to skip back in this video or look at my Instagram. Anyway, I like that one the most because I captured the color shifts really nicely, I think. But this one with the palm facing up is my second favorite of this page. The proportions of the hand that's kind of curled over are not great. And I knew that when I sketched it, but I couldn't be bothered to fix it. So, note to future self, being lazy just makes you more frustrated with your entire piece. So, also note to everyone else that is a painter, or just general life advice. Okay, now I'm rambling, so I'm gonna leave you. I hope you enjoyed these. Let me know what you thought about them, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.